Tuesday, July 11th, 2023, and this is the planning board meeting for the city of Bethel. Linda, I want to get a.
Do it now if you would like.
Linda, could I get a? We know that, Randall is gonna be late. And Bettina is being excused because she is not well. And Dustin is just absent.
Well, let's confirm he's not online.
No, even if he is. Go ahead.
Chairman Joyner,
Here.
John Cody,
Here.
Valerie Gray. Here. Jean Chatzky,
Here.
Randall Martin,
He's gonna be late.
Virginia Young,
He's gonna be absent.
Dustin Duncan.
Now, could I get a motion to open up the public hearing for 6-12 Hudson Avenue?
So moved. So
Second,
good.
all in favor?
Aye.
And is there anyone here to present for that? No. So any members of the public? Any comments for 6-12 Hudson Avenue? Okay, they've asked to have 2 months.
Continuing hearing
Continue
until
hearing.
September 11th, 2025.
They've asked to have their hearing continued for 2 months. So until September 11th. Okay. So, I need a motion.
Yes, we do.
Can I get a motion to continue the hearing for 6-12 Hudson Avenue until September the 11th, 2023? All in favor? Who's second? All in favor? Okay. September 12th?
Is it the 12th?
September 17th. Oh, okay. Tuesday, September 12th. Thank you, Janine.
Thank you.
Now, can I get a motion to open the public hearing for 735, 737 Columbia Street?
So moved.
Second? All in favor? Okay, this applicant has asked to continue their hearing for 1 month, which is till next month,
August 15th.
August the 15th. So can I get a motion to continue the public hearing for 735-737 Columbia Street until next month, August the 15th?
So moved.
All in favor? Yeah, August 8th for the second.
Second.
Yep, yep.
Oh, sorry. Okay, August, let's correct that, August 8th. All in favor? Okay.
She's in charge of the calendar moving forward.
All right, so now we're gonna go to new business. And we're gonna have a presentation from, we call it the boulevards, but it's 117, 119, and 121 Fairview Avenue, plus 2 and 4 Parkwood Boulevard, and 1 Oakwood Boulevard.
Correct.
Okay.
How is everyone this evening?
Good. Oh, my God.
Nice.
Thank you.
You need a banner of white.
Did I miss Are these different than what was provided previously? Yes, there's additional materials in here. We have our traffic study, we have the stormwater sewers analysis. And we have some additional renderings that we didn't have at the last resubmission meeting. But yeah, there's a lot of new stuff in this package. And I'm Crystal Hines. I'm appearing today with Jennifer Crawford, the project engineer, Lou Piero, who is the head of this project with Litchfield Properties, And Walter Chatham is the engineer, or excuse me, the architect on the project. As indicated in the application, the applicant is planning to develop the multiple parcels here between the boulevards and Fairview Avenue into 21 bedroom apartments, 2 bedroom apartments, and 2 commercial spaces comprising of 30 to 50 square feet each. Excuse me. The plan is to merge these parcels. We have had a discussion with code enforcement as well as with the city attorney. And it is my understanding that yes, we can merge these parcels. And that the Oakwood Boulevard parcels that are abutting the Fairview parcels will be part of the commercial district. There's 1 parcel that will be just used in this for access and egress and some parking. The character of the abutting parcels, only on the western boundary of the premises are there any abutting parcels. 3 Oakwood Boulevard is a single family residential, and 8 Parkwood Boulevard is also a single family residential. To the north, we have Oakwood Boulevard. To the south, we have Parkwood Boulevard and Fairview Avenue to the east. Those are abutting. So we don't have any additional abutting parcels.
Crystal, can I just ask you a question? Which parcel did you say was residential?
There are 2 of them. Those are abutting. That's 3 Oakwood Boulevard.
2 and 4?
No, these are abutting parcels that are residential.
Okay.
So this goes to the character of the neighborhood. So we have both 3 and 8 Parkwood Boulevard
Right.
that are residential. They're both single family.
No, it's not, we're not able to put it on the,
I don't have these documents now.
I sent the documents in. The only thing that I have that we can put up on the screen today is Walter Chatham's portion. I can get that up for when we're ready for that.
I mean, we have, are these those same ones you submitted last week?
no.
Yes, everything that was submitted last week, except for the updated sewer analysis.
With the plans,
Yes, in the
So
last
Michael-
part, the plans are the same.
the plans are gonna be on the city website. Linda
Oh.
uploaded them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So just put those up. So yeah, those are on the website. Couple of things came up at the last meeting. One of the questions was if this was going to be low-income housing, and it will not be. I think that it's important to remember as we consider these applications, supply and demand issues. As we build more housing in the city to meet the demand, it will naturally bring prices down. That's simple basic economics. So the project will not be low income. It will be for market rate apartments. But again, we believe that we're increasing the supply here, which will meet the demand that currently exists and will eventually lower the prices of the rentals in the city. I will let Mr. Piero discuss the project. Mr. Piero grew up here in Hudson and has a lot of experience on boulevards, and I'll let him speak to some of that.
Good evening, everyone. I grew up in Hudson in 1958. My parents built a house on Riverledge Road, which is right around the corner from the boulevards. 2 years later, my uncle built a house adjoining, and a few years later, my aunt built a house up the road. My sister now lives in my parents' house. My cousin lives in the other house. This neighborhood is a place where I grew up. Right from Obie's Fish Fry on the corner where we all went. Tennis courts where we all played tennis. And when I got on my bike back in the day, I was born in the same year they built the house in 1958. You got on your bike and you went to the boulevards. And my friends all lived in the homes in the boulevards, and it was a great neighborhood. It was a beautiful place to grow up. You had resources, the school, the athletic fields, track, tennis courts, Oakdale. I got to be a counselor at Oakdale Playground for a few summers, right on the boulevards. Learned to swim at Oakdale. And my dad goes back even further. His name was Lou Piero as well. Some of you may have known him. But in the 40s, he was the city youth director. And it was under his guidance that they built the beach house at Oakdale Beach. I have some photos of him and Governor Dewey christening the beach house back in 1948. So this is an area that goes way back in my family. I still have lots of family living in the neighborhood. And what we're trying to bring to the neighborhood is a gateway coming in off of an industrial road, Route 9, where you have industrial buildings and gas stations, and transitioning into the Boulevard neighborhood with Oakwood and Parkwood, and then all the lovely homes and the beautiful streets that go down. So this will give people an opportunity to live in that Boulevard neighborhood in an apartment. People that can't afford a house or don't want the burdens of a house can still benefit from the Boulevard neighborhood. You can walk, people have bicycle racks. Walter's going to talk a little bit about the design. We have lots of trees, some benches, sidewalks. So we want to make this an attractive entryway, and not just an entryway to the boulevards, but an entryway to Hudson, because if you're coming from the north, that's your first exposure. So we want to create a showpiece on this capstone of the boulevards so that people can live comfortably, live in apartments that are new and well maintained. The business areas, I'll actually have an office in one of them. We're going to do professional offices on one side, and we're going to be looking for a tenant. And we're talking to a few people like Spectrum, big low traffic types of tenants on the other commercial space. But we'll have a number of professional offices on one side, on the Oakwood side, and then a commercial space on the Parkwood side. I'll have a gym in the basement. Each unit will have a storage facility in the basement. So you'll have parking, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Jen's going to talk about parking a little bit. And it's, I think, a project that makes the neighborhood better. It's something that I would live in a neighborhood that I have lived in and grew up in. So with that, thank you.
Yes, Jen Crawford will speak about the, both the parking and the sewer analysis.
Sure, well, I'd like to start with the sewer analysis. So we completed a sewer analysis of the drainage on the site. The first significant finding is that the storm water that is available at this site, the storm drain is already separated. It discharges into Oakdale Lake and not to the CSOs. So it can be considered separately from the sanitary drainage. The development is also less than 1 acre, so a stormwater pollution prevention plan shouldn't be required. And we don't think the hydrology analysis is required for those reasons. Next, we evaluated the sanitary drainage from the site. There are 2 buildings on the site, and actually there'll be 2 connections, one draining to an existing sanitary sewer line on the north side, Parkwood, and then the other draining to the south side on Oakwood.
No,
Oakwood's north. I think that's the and so the max discharge was 2,200 gallons per day by that calculation, which is under the threshold of the additional review for the CSO and heating permit. So the main conclusions on drainage analysis. I'd like to invite Teresa, who is one of our engineers in training. She worked under my guidance on the parking study. She'd like to speak a little bit about what she did and what she found.
So for the parking study, we pretty much, took some field observations, we went out and looked at the current demand for parking, and then we used the parking generation manual to, just create a prediction for how much parking might increase, due to these uses. And we found that there was more than enough, parking for the uses that we're looking for, like, more.
It was a lot, and within the quarter-mile study area, there were way more spaces available in that area than what would be needed. And I don't even think we were needing the entire quarter in that study area, but that was what we started.
And Walter Chatham will go over the rendering this.
Do I just have to do the thing again?
Yes, sure.
Okay, well, this is. This one we don't have to spend a lot of time on. I would say that there'll be a basement under each section of the building. And one half will have a gym in it, and the other half will have storage and a laundry in it. And those will be acceptable to tenants upstairs in those buildings. On the ground floor, this is that commercial building on Parkwood that you spoke of. Is there a way to get it up? I need to know, yeah, that's perfect. So on Parkwood, we have some head-in parking spaces for that. Oakwood, we don't have parking spaces head-in, but there are 3 parking spaces available. And this is loose that will be office suites, professional offices on this side. There'll be a nice, hopefully nice little planted area with some benches and a kind of nice public amenity there. We'll have bike racks and various amenities located around the building. And one very important idea is to surround the entire property with a screen of trees. Okay, then upstairs, these are a little hard to read, so I won't dwell on them, but this is the mix of 1 and 2 bedroom apartments. And, you know, they share stairs and an elevator and common circulation. You'll see in the perspectives, there's a bridge that joins the 2 buildings, so you can walk across with the cars. And I'm so sorry, Wendy, could you go back one? I just forgot to say, all of the residential parking will be in here, screened from outside and also covered by the building. So the building actually has the kind of space under cars will tuck in. So when you drive around, you won't see any parking except for these head-in spaces here. Okay, sorry, keep going. And then, all right, so this is the 2nd floor. Then as we go to the 3rd floor, it's exactly the same. And then we go on to the, yeah, so, sorry, this used to be in color, but no matter. This is the Oakwood elevation, and, you know, hopefully just a nice rhythm of bay windows going all the way down the facade that resolve themselves into windows on the storefront and the offices down here. And this is the view from Fairview Avenue. And this is that opening that I spoke of between the 2 buildings. This is actually a very thin little piece, like a corridor that passes so that they can share elevators and stairs between the 2 otherwise identical and separate buildings. Okay, please keep going. And then just another view. This is, I believe, yeah, from the back of the building. So here you're seeing those 2 buildings kind of open out. So you're seeing those bay windows kind of articulated that way. And then this is the Parkwood side. So coming around the corner, and again, we showed some of the neighborhood buildings behind. Okay, please keep going. All right, here we go. So these views, hopefully you can see okay. So this is just a kind of aerial view that shows that arched opening between the 2 buildings. And then here is a view kind of looking diagonally from Fairview. And then here's the kind of a long view. I believe this is Oakwood here, looking down, and you can see the houses in mass here. So you get an idea of what the scale of this is going to be like in the neighborhood with the big roofs on the houses. They're all pretty much up in the kind of the same scale range. And then I believe, is that it?
So this
Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, thank you.
Does the board have questions?
Yes. I think when we first saw this at the last meeting, it was a dead end after you went in. It looked like there was an entrance and an exit front and back.
No,
No?
yeah, right here. So this
Oh, okay,
is
all right.
entirely self-contained. There are 3 parking spaces within here, which, you know, that's the backup space, obviously works. So yeah, so that is like a cul-de-sac that comes
Well,
off.
go to the graphics that you just showed, the Yeah, is that the back of the building on the
This
bottom?
is, so the back of the building is open and you're looking through the site at the arch at the front. So you're looking entirely
Oh,
through the
okay.
building at that point, but there's no, you can't drive.
All right,
You know-
it was just confused
No, no, I
because,
understand.
yeah.
I understand.
okay.
So all of the vehicle traffic goes through the front,
So,
through that archway?
so for the apartments, everyone comes in and out of that entry there on Fairview, just for the apartments. Then for the commercial parking is around, parallel here and head in down here. So the two are completely separate. And this, entrance on Fairview is only for the, as John was saying, for that internal parking for the apartments, and it's, 23 spaces.
And emergency service vehicles,
Anywhere along here. The entire building on three sides is accessible, so that meets all the requirements. They have access through the side yard here if they had to get into that courtyard.
right, but if there was, if there was an interior fire,
Oh, yeah, no, I'd like to speak to that. I
Yeah,
have evaluated this from a fire code perspective.
Yeah.
I am also personally a volunteer firefighter of Germantown, and actually a mutual aid water rescue unit member of Hudson. And so we don't want apparatus in here. That's not gonna be safe for them. This is greater than 30 feet, and so we are planning for an aerial apparatus.
okay,
The aerial would be on this side, and what we'll be planning is some, what is telling in the plans is a fire lane sign. Prevent parking right on this street for the fire lane zone, the length of the aerial. And then we will have another approach here, from the street. There'll be two fire department connections, one on each building, to be able to approach from both sides.
and during high traffic areas, or times, like in the morning, when people have to leave, go to work, everyone's gonna leave through that front entrance.
The residential traffic
Yes.
will be through this entrance. Another thing you'll see in the parking study is that we did consult with the DOT on this already. Some features of this is an existing entrance, that's just being improved. It is actually, you can't see, it's directly across the street from the National Grid entrance, so at least there's not too much of an offset there. And the DOT did give us conceptual approval of that entrance already.
And when you did your parking study, and did it also include traffic analysis? You know, given.
The traffic analysis.
We didn't do a traffic analysis. Yeah, we did a parking study.
Okay, because I just wondered, because again, it just seems like with all those apartments, if people have to leave for work in the morning or come back, there seems a good potential that there's gonna be spillover and cars waiting, to
Well-
get in or get out.
Yeah, so I mean, the scope of the DOT is to evaluate the adequacy of something like that. And they've already given conditional or like conceptual, approval. We've gone through stage one approval of DOT for that location.
There'll be a lot of, I'm not sure what word to use, but you have three very short distances from your archway to Oakwood and to Parkwood. And on a school day, Glenwood or Oakwood and Parkwood are really busy with buses and things like that coming from the school. So I think you really do have to do kind of a more comprehensive traffic study just to get an idea of what kind of traffic we're going to be dealing with.
So, to satisfy the concern you have
Yeah.
about, it sounds like more of a site distance concern. That is something the DOT evaluates through their stage 1, 2, 3 approval. We could offer to do some site distance measurements to confirm that it meets the DOT.
Well, not
specifications.
just the site measurements, the actual traffic flow coming in and out of the boulevards in addition to that.
Mhm.
Because there's, I'm sure there'll be a stop sign in the building to have people stop. But you're gonna have three people at stop signs within, what, 100 feet of one another? 150
Wait, we
feet?
did do traffic. didn't we?
Yeah.
Oh, right, it was less than one, sorry, I apologize.
That's okay.
So would you like to finish? You know better than I.
She was so,
Okay.
she was saving words.
We almost said include traffic and we did.
Go to the expert.
Please, please start with me.
No, it's okay. So we pretty much found that there were more than 100 trips being generated because of the new use, pretty much.
And the peak use hour, there were less than 100 trips. And that is considered, in the seeker worksheet, that is considered not a significant impact. it's less than 100 trips.
And there's no
The
traffic
board-
device.
the board decides.
There's no.
Right.
So there's a stop, there's a stop sign, to any sort of traffic device, a yellow light, a flashing, anything.
No, the DOT, that would be the DOT's jurisdiction, and they have not requested that.
Because I do, since I echo his concern, I mean, I've been on that street, and a lot of times in a busy street, it takes you, 3, 4, 5 minutes, to get out. And so add that to this, and in that cul-de-sac, what is there? It looks like there's spaces for 20 cars. 23 cars, that's, that's another. Additional amount of traffic that will be added to that, congestion added to that already very busy traffic.
So, I mean, we presented the number of trips, is there a specific question you're looking for us to approve? We could provide additional DOT correspondence, reviewing those number of trips that we calculated, which were less than 100 during the peak period.
And that's out of both Oakwood
that
and
is-
Parkwood?
We calculated residential and commercial separately. They are not coincident periods. So the peak traffic period for the residential is usually at a different time than the commercial, and they're using a different entrance anyway. So the traffic calculated here was only based on the residential use.
Doesn't make any sense.
Mr. Martin, there's a few options for the board. Tonight, if the board is ready, we'll start seeker circulation. We can send it to DOT as part of our review so that DOT provides comments back directly to the planning board. Another option is you're gonna have to get your engineer involved because of the sewer issue. You can have the engineer look at parking and traffic as well, do a peer review.
Okay, thank you.
That works.
Yeah, I've got a few questions here, but before I do that, as Mr. Pirro had eloquently stated, he's a Hudson resident living in the Boulevards. I'm a Hudson resident. I know Mr. Pirro personally, I know his family personally. And at one time, a few years ago, as an attorney, he did some work for me, private work. A civil process thing that he did. Me being on the board and reviewing this and ultimately going to be making decisions, I don't have a problem doing it. The little bit of work that Mr. Pirro did for me years ago is done and over with. I can review the paperwork, the documents, all the studies that were forwarded to me, and I can do with a clear conscience, vote or approve the way that I should be doing it as a professional.
Okay. Just disclosing for the record, a prior business relationship that's ended.
Yeah, there's a one time event, and that was it. So, okay.
In small communities.
Yeah, it is.
As long as, it was it's a prior business issue, it's no longer, and the money is flowing, you were paying him, you wasn't.
Oh,
paying
right,
you.
right, yeah. You didn't spend it all on one place. You could have.
Yes.
Okay, the parking within the compound itself, that's strictly for residential.
Correct.
If the business is open and somebody goes in, are they gonna be towed out, towed away, or are you gonna just overlook it?
I would say if it's a one-off situation and somebody just does it once, that's fine.
Mhm.
But if somebody makes it a habit, then they have to be notified that it's not allowed.
Okay, and then on the Parkwood Boulevard side, the south side. You're gonna have parking facing in?
Yes,
Yes. Is there gonna be a sidewalk there?
Yes.
There's gonna be sidewalk,
Sidewalk goes around the parking.
okay. Alright. And then, is there?
sidewalks on all three sides.
Yeah, but he's asking, will the sidewalk continue even though you're?
Yeah, on the
Yes.
Parkwood Boulevard side. And the, parking spaces that Corporate Associates did with the chart here. It says availability, total number of spaces, Oakwood, Parkwood, Glenwood, and Paddock Place. 122. Available spaces for residential, as she had said, strictly for residential, is 77. And commercial peak hours, 99 spaces are available for those areas.
Or what's the question?
Okay, I was just reaffirming that this is the way it was. Residential peak hours, commercial peak hours, residential peak hour correction factor, and then the commercial spaces. So
Yeah.
a total of 122, we got 77 available during peak hour and 99 commercial during the peak hours.
Yeah, there are a lot of available spaces, and then, another significant figure is that what the parking generation was. So like for the residential, I think it was under 30, was it? I don't know, very small compared to the number of available spaces that there are.
Because I live in the neighborhood, and that's Mr. Peter knows. And sometimes the parking is like anywhere else in the city of Hudson, it's always an issue. And if you're gonna go put in your business and another business, and the residents and the visitors that are gonna come to those 23 apartments, 28 apartments, thank you. You know, it may be a problem down the road, I don't know. So, but that looks good.
Are you eliminating Parkwood on Oakwood for the fire lane? Is there on-street parking now?
Well, a couple things I want to clarify. We were conservative in the number of available spaces. I asked Teresa to only include one side street parking because to plan for those times when there's snow removal, right? And only people can park on one side. So in the available space calculation, we're also already being conservative on that matter. But for the fire lane, it just needs to be as long as the apparatus, not the full length of the building. So I would say the answer is partial parking, depending on where the fire lane signs are.
The question was, are you eliminating existing parking for the fire lane? On-street parking?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So follow up on the parking, name, where do visitors park?
On the street as would a visitor to anybody's home that didn't have off-street parking.
Okay, and you're saying, and I was gonna say with the, I don't know how it is on them, on those streets, do they do like weekend, parking where you have to park on one side for street cleaning? Do they do that up there?
Well,
Alternate side of the street.
right now on Parkwood, it's one side parking,
Okay,
one side parking. And then there's, I think it's a Wednesday or Thursday night, it's parked over
the
the other
alternate
side.
side, okay.
The mayor, during the year will issue a proclamation of the order to suspend that. But in the boulevards, as far as I know, it's never been done. And the north side, Oakwood, is parking on either side of the street.
Yes, okay.
Oh, doesn't have alternate side of the street.
No, that I'm aware of. Michael? Has the mayor issued any order to suspend alternate side parking on the boulevards?
Not specific to that
Okay.
area, no.
Glenwood is one side parking. Oakwood is one, Glenwood is one side, Parkwood is one side, and Oakwood is two sides, as far as I believe. Paddock Place is the same thing, two sided.
Yeah, I mean, I think that what I want you guys to take away, we assumed one side for street area anyway, there's just so much street parking there for overflow. That, we were very conservative in our house.
Is that parking analysis study with it here?
It is,
Yes.
Yes.
it's, you've got two with the blue covers, one is the parking and one is the sewer analysis.
Yeah, I see the sewer house. Okay.
And each unit is one parking space?
No, they got 28 apartments, they're on 23 parking spaces.
Okay, so,
That's the question I want to ask.
yeah.
Is there any way you can give each unit a parking space?
How
Since you're
is that
in
gonna be
in the
implemented?
early part of this,
I mean, the client's preference is to use more space for housing, and less for just parking.
I
And that there
understand
is so much, right, and so, the point being that, You know, there is a lot of available parking, and compared to other projects in the city, the ratio of on to off-street parking and the demand on the street is much less than other projects that are.
Every project that has been built in that area that's similar to parking has given each unit its parking space. So my question is that, have you thought about it? This is going to be one impact.
I don't know if that's true. I'm not sure that for the.
Well, it's not-
project
it's
on
not part of
7th
Hudson,
Street
it's
that
like
there was
the-
one spot for each.
Yeah, it's like a
unit.
Greenport area, I'm sorry.
Okay, but this is Hudson.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
But when
But
you
I'm
build
not-
these
but I think
communities.
the point is that not any other project here that's housing has been required to have one spot per unit.
I didn't ask about
It might be worth
requirements, I just
mentioning-
asked, is it possible to think about?
Well, so how about this, we have, nothing, but the head-in spaces off of Parkwood are
Okay,
are
yeah.
for the business, but the business only operates, say, 9 to 5.
Mhm.
So after 5 PM, those spaces could switch to residential.
And you did say headed, meaning they're gonna go towards,
90 degrees
similar to
from
7th
the
Street.
Yes, yes.
Doesn't that take up road?
It turns, it takes up, it goes into the property. It's, when we say 7th Street, maybe I'm not remembering.
7th Warren, between Warren and Union?
So head in is where you turn 90 degrees and pull into the
Right.
space. And then, like, could you? Yeah, so, right, so what you do, Teresa, is you pull in here like that.
Yes.
That's the curb line. And then to Gene, I think it was question, that's the sidewalk line there. So the parking is outside of the sidewalk line still, but they brought it into their property. And so the best way I can say it is by doing hidden, even though it takes up more space this way, you get twice as many spaces. You only get one space on the curb, so for every one space, we get 2.
Is that sidewalk 5 feet where you relocated it?
This is more than 5 feet.
Is
This
it?
is about 8.5. It jogs in.
So are you gonna give the city an easement for the relocating the public sidewalk? Across
Well,
the
I guess,
property?
yeah, we have to make that the public sidewalk, we'll make that a deal. But yeah, I think that's sort of typical when you do the head end, you wanna get the, because the people parking also wanna have a sidewalk to come out onto. So I don't know, we have to look at whether you dedicate that to the city or make some kind of a maintenance deal, I mean.
We can certainly talk about that. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, beginning stages and.
And the parking inside. There will be handicap.
Yeah.
Parking spaces.
There are handicap spaces here, here, and here, so 3 total.
3.
And if I understand you correctly, you're saying that for the business parking, after a certain time, you're gonna make that available to the public.
Yeah, after
Yeah.
5 PM, I would think it could.
Absolutely, there's no reason the business would need it at that point in time, so residents would be able to use it, they'd have to be out at a certain hour when the business is open back up.
But we're gonna have a bike lane in the basement, and everybody always says this, and we hope people will take advantage of the fact that they're very close to everything here and not decide they've gotta get in the car and 10 minutes.
So the bike parking will be in the basement. We talked last time you were here, we asked about, everyone gets Amazon deliveries and FedEx deliveries.
Yeah.
Are the trucks going in and do you have a dedicated delivery spot for everyone?
We would
How does
make
that work?
we'll have a mail area and we'll have a package room off the mail area. And I believe that would be a street delivery. So, I don't think they'd come into the property to do that. I think they do it like you would do in an apartment building normally, where you just pull up on the curb and the guy comes in and the person comes in and leaves it. So that'll be next to the lobby, one of the 2 lobbies on Fairview.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask you, if you're gonna do it on Fairview, because again, we're looking at traffic, we're looking at visibility, we're looking at, enhanced congestion. Maybe that could be in one of the corners where, you don't have a truck.
Oh,
Now, kind of
Okay,
have out on the
right.
road, that people got right around.
But the logical place to put it. It's right there. These are the 2 lobbies here. So let's just pick that one and say that that's the mailroom and package room right there. So they could stop there, take a dolly around there. That's easy to do. Yeah.
And I want to ask, so you're gonna have 2 commercial businesses, right?
Yes.
So, and how many parking spaces do you have allotted for residents?
So down here, we have a total of 10.
10.
So that's a total of 33 spaces on the property.
Any more? Okay, now this is an application that came in, March kept coming in all day, so, that takes time on patience. Are there any more questions from the board?
Okay, so, EV parking, are you proposing any? Those should be on the plans if you are.
Electric vehicle for,
And
no.
I didn't see the dumpster location on the plans. Or I don't know how you're dealing with garbage, so something that was.
So I think we'll have an internal trash room and bring it out. Right, so it'll come out on one of the boulevards.
Like multiple bins.
Well, we're gonna have a trash room in the basement, probably, and we'll bring it up somewhere like,
I think we can show that on the little.
Yeah, we'll need some notes about how it's being handled.
that's good, but I won't extemporize, we'll give it an actual trash room.
The board should consider whether it wants to see a construction staging plan, because it's sort of a tight site and, so you understand how things are gonna be laid out when it is under construction, for instance, making sure that there's always sidewalk access. And then the sewer issue, we did get that report late today. I don't think that.
It was just updated, to show 2 connections. There was a report in the original.
Okay, but so the updated report came in today, but I don't think that it, even though you've now shown it as 2 separate connections, it's one common scheme of development. And I don't think that's going to be acceptable as a way to avoid the 2,500 gallons per day by breaking it into 2 connections. So my recommendation is that the board refer that issue to the consulting engineer, and then they can work with the EC.
Now I know this question has been asked to the again. Now, the lots that are being merged that are residential. And once they are merged into commercial. We're all sure that you don't have to go to the zoning board to get a change or something on that residential that's being merged.
The code is silent as to approval of lot mergers. It is not under the planning board's purview, it's not under the zoning board's purview, I mean, it's just silent.
Oh, the planning board will need a subdivision plat to merge the lots. I think her question is the zoning aspect. She wants you to confirm that you can use the residential piece
portion.
as an accessory to the project for parking.
Correct, yes. It's my understanding that Andy Howard has weighed in on that and has confirmed that. There was a question about that.
Could you go get something?
Craig issued a supplemental letter 2 days ago.
Oh, that's it.
I wanted to issue it a few days ago. But, that, I mean, Chris, you did raise it, you do need a subdivision plat to formally merge these lots.
Does the planning board need to do that? I mean, typically lot mergers would be handled. Or
Me with real property. Nope, they're approved by the planning board. The plans get stamped.
Can you tell me where your authority is for that? Because honestly, I don't see that anywhere in the code.
I can go through, we routinely do it. Crawford comes before our board often. Dustin comes and we approve subdivisions.
But it's not subdivision, it's a merger. I get you have
It's
subdivision.
a subdivision plat because it's a change in the lot line of a lot.
Okay, have we reviewed this application to find, make sure that it's complete? I think there's some question about signatures.
Oh, right, we don't have a signed application.
Actually, there's one page of the application that is signed. I don't have Mr. Rivera sign the other page. And there was one we missed, sorry.
Yeah, you can sign Linda's copy, so we have.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Is there any additional information we need? I would like to make sure that they get, what do you call it? When they put it up, when they call it.
Oh, you want,
Yeah. That can submit it pretty.
oh, digitally.
Yeah. Is it possible to submit all your drawings and submit your drawings also digitally so we can see it on the screen? For the next meeting?
You mean these?
Yeah,
These I understand were submitted digitally as well.
okay, anything
And actually-
update
Moving forward.
moving forward to?
Yes,
Okay.
I've been trying to do that actually today. I sent to Linda a couple of things that were changed and I will continue to do that as we
Right,
update.
everything, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Because we're trying to.
Absolutely, keep everything.
We really do. Okay, now we want to set.
We've requested the board deem the application complete and set a public hearing.
No, once to set escrow first.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
and then give us a chance, we may want to do a site review, and you guys want to go over there, I would love to take a look at the place.
I'll tell you, the engineer has recommended that you not set any hearings moving forward until the sewer issue is resolved, because what happens is what was happening with the prior two applications, they'll just be continued for months at a time until we have resolution. So
Yes,
I don't think we should consider the application complete until we have that resolved. But we can start the secret process tonight. The board is ready. We can circulate to the other involved agencies and start getting comments.
yes, we can do that, and we want to set escrow,
Yes, we have a resolution to do that.
yes. And it's been suggested 10,000, but we did get a master service agreement plan, it was 10,000.
And
But that doesn't look to be your thing.
so you can go higher and then it gets returned.
Yes.
I mean, it's all dependent on how much, and really the engineering is the driver here.
So what does the board say?
Yeah, so 10, or,
I'll do it then. Because we can always go back to more than we've done in the past.
yeah.
And then-
I'm trying not to keep coming back for more, but right. Because that means every month I gotta look at the balances like an accountant. And I don't particularly. Okay, so we're gonna set an escrow balance for $10,000. That should be a check made out to the city of Hudson. And either mailed or brought in.
Yeah.
Oh, can I get a motion to
adopt the resolution.
adopt a resolution for a $10,000?
Let's go down $10,000.
I'll make a motion.
One second,
I'll second.
all in favor? Any opposed? So moved. That'll be it.
We also have a resolution.
One more point of clarification.
The applicant.
Okay.
Oh, it's Craig Hayes.
Oh, okay.
So you mentioned that the sewer issue had to be resolved before the submission was complete. Are there any other issues that you need before it's deemed complete?
I mean, the engineer hasn't reviewed it at all yet at this point, because there's no escrow. So they will do a review. I mean, we have a few comments, like the head-on spaces. You're gonna need approval from someone to use the city right of way for parking and having had conversation. So you will be getting some comments in the interim.
Okay,
Okay, yeah, we'll send you something.
Once we have an escrow established, then we can. Do that.
I have another request, and would it, because you move to circulate with county, we are on Route 9, so we'll have to parking as well. We'd like those feedback from the DOT.
It's not a requirement, it's just a thought. But I keep getting back to the whole livability of the area and the residents and going across the street, and it just seems to me that a traffic control, I don't know if the DOT has, the traffic control device would be helpful there, because people are gonna be crossing that street in Fairview in an uncontrolled fashion. There's a store right there, there's Dollar General, and back when it just seems like that.
DOT they require certain warrants before they will require a traffic control device. I mean, we're welcome, we're going to refer it to them tonight. And then you're welcome to write to whoever it is and just ask them to explain why they are or are not requiring certain improvements.
Yeah, with three exits onto Fairview in such a short space,
Yeah,
you're gonna have people, you know.
And there's
people and cars.
and there's a lot of
You know,
congestion there already without the houses, with the empty lots.
Yeah, and then traffic stops when somebody wants to pull into a space on the left, and the right hand lane, and traffic is coming in like rush hour and things. I mean, there are a lot of those kinds of things, you know, so.
Okay,
I also live on the boulevards. I live on Glenwood Boulevard and I think this is kind of exciting. That part of the boulevards has been kind of dead into a certain regard. And over the last couple of years, I've only been on Glenwood Boulevard for the last 6 years. But even in that time, it seems as though more families have moved into the area. We see more people on the sidewalks. We see Oakdale being used more. And I think that this is kind of exciting. Just to bring a little bit more light back to the boulevards. So.
Do you want me to?
yes.
Okay, so we have a resolution prepared that was circulated to the board. It's a resolution classifying the action as an unlisted seeker action and referring the application to the Columbia County Planning Board. It says, now therefore be it resolved, the planning board hereby 1, classifies the project as unlisted under seeker, 2, declares its intent to serve as lead agency in a coordinated seeker review. So that means even though we're not required to, we're going to send it to the DEC, the DOT, all those other agencies. Directs the secretary to send notice of its intent to serve as lead agency to all involved and interested agencies, and directs its secretary to refer the project to the Columbia County Planning Board for a report and recommendation thereon pursuant to section 239M of the general municipal law. And then there's a list of involved and interested agencies below. I have to add DOT because we left that off, but it's DEC, DOT, historic preservation. It came up in an archaeologically sensitive check zone. Common Council, Public Works, those are for the sidewalk easement and the parking potentially, and the Columbia County Planning Board. I don't know if anyone have anyone else that should be on there.
If you do, just send it to.
Okay, so if you're ready to start that process tonight, we can adopt the resolution. Okay.
And I'm gonna motion to adopt the resolution.
Make a motion.
On the boulevard.
I make a motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Resolution adopted. Look at that, it's signed, so it should have to.
Okay, and so, the engineer is gonna do a review, it's gonna go to county planning. We likely miss the next planning board meeting, so we won't have the response next week. Right, so that will be in process. That won't happen until August. After our August meeting.
But we'll keep in correspondence with you. Yeah. Any board member have any more questions? Then I do have a question, but I don't know if go ahead. Beautiful townhouses. Linda?
Are you reporting?
Oh, okay. Thank you for coming over. Thank you.
Thank you.
No. No.
Can you take the chair here tonight?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, we want to do the city hall, right? And not, this is city hall.
Thank you.
I think about right now.
Randall?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, okay, I got you.
Okay, I want to say to the public that's here, we are not renewing. We do not have Howard on our agenda tonight. So if anyone's here for that. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I should have said it earlier, but I forgot. That's the same.
Next, Crystal.
You can get a copy
We don't
of
know.
the- like that,
When they submit, then.
like into probably the process.
And we'll have it. like
We
that.
do have someone missing.
So would it just?
You can leave it for that's for the team.
But all of the correspondence that came into the, but all of the correspondence that came into
And
the
we
planning board
basically
in reference to also has been posted on our website.
Yeah, and
Everything's being posted.
we're gonna need.
The, everything's being posted, the emails, but we're redacting your email address. but all of the correspondence and comments being posted, right, Linda?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should just check before you take that.
Okay. Oh, is that what you guys were here for?
Yes.
I'm so sorry. I meant to say it in the beginning.
That's okay.
Thanks. 1, 2,
It's fascinating.
3. I've already got it.
But just check the agenda, and I'm gonna try and get the agenda out earlier on the website, so that, instead of getting it out one day, I find it out. I think that's it. Okay, we're back up.
Don't say that out loud, G.
Okay, can we get now, is it too- no, thanks, sorry. Next new business is, 241 Warren Street, are you there now?
Yep.
You got,
You don't have the same kind of presentation, I just want to let you know.
Yeah, could you also start your documents?
Well, we sent you guys, that you should have the documents, and Craig gave you the documents, the
Oh,
plans,
yeah.
and the application.
So because you only submitted the hard copies, the board hasn't seen anything yet.
Oh, wow.
Did they get the digital copies in advance?
Oh, we didn't know that, actually. We can definitely send it to you digitally.
Yes.
I mean, both technically required, but the digital copies are helpful for everyone to get a head start.
Okay.
And especially when you're presenting.
I know, well, this is the first time for us, so we're learning on the job, guys.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, 241 Warren Street.
So, 241 Warren Street, are you guys familiar with 241 Warren Street? Do you know what it looks like? I mean, I don't even have it, I do have a picture of the outside, of it, just so.
John Googled it,
That's what
the yellow
I
building.
didn't Google it, it was in gossips.
Was it in Gossips?
Yeah,
Excuse me.
it was, it was
Hello.
included in a,
Yeah,
thing
that's
about
it.
meetings of the week.
Oh, okay, okay.
Oh,
So-
okay, you know, that, is it still yellow? It's yellow
It is
brick,
still
right?
yellow, it's still
Yeah.
yellow.
It used to be a one-family house.
It's been many things. There's been many renditions of it. Probably it started out as a one family.
You wanna see them? No, the lady,
Yeah, it's okay. Oh.
the public behind you, do you wanna see?
Oh, you
Yeah,
see,
I have it.
I just want to see.
it probably at one time.
Why
was
don't you
even
guys come and sit over here?
Back in like the 1850s. It was a four family. It also was a store, a cigarette and cigar shop. It was a social club. But it's had many lives,
Right,
but
and it was for sale all the time.
it was, we had it for almost 7 years, actually. We had it for almost 7 years. It's beautiful. You walk in, it's got amazing like feeling. And it's a property that we would like to, renovate and create housing, 1-bedroom apartments in it. And the bottom floor, we'd love to put in 2 commercial spaces. Our intention is not to change the facade at all. You would walk in the hallway and you would go into the stores from that. We don't want to change the facade, or we want to keep the integrity of the facade.
So you do have 4 apartments now.
Well, you can talk about it.
Yeah, well, it was a 4 at one time, but the people that owned it before us, they told me actually, when I was buying it, that they changed it to 2 because they didn't want to be paying the extra water bills. That it wasn't, that for them it wasn't necessary, it didn't make a difference to whether it was a 2 or a 4. So they just changed it down. The meters, there's still 4 meters in the basement. And I'm sure prior to it being a 4, in my estimation, it was a 6. Because of the layout of the building and the plumbing in the building tells me that at one point in time, there was 6 units in the building. Now, all the rough ends of all the bathrooms and kitchens are still there to be seen to show that there were 6 used units there at some point in time down the road. Now, so that's kind of what we want to put back, pretty much copycat of what was there originally. This way, there's not a lot of changing in the structure necessary. It'll be side by side, lefts and rights, three stories. And it'll be very, very basic and straightforward. And I'm a carpenter by trade myself. That's what I've done all my life. And I'll be doing all the work myself with regard to that. And
And then the backyard would be common, so that you can come down to the main hallway. And
yeah, I forgot about the backyard. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a very, very deep backyard. And
yeah, someone's volume is up, guys, that's why you get the echo. Yeah.
yeah, there is a deep.
Not even on.
Oh, me neither.
I'm not on Zoom.
This is weird.
Brenda,
Seems like it's gonna.
It's coming from the speaker, but there's a reason.
I don't know why.
Yeah, that's strange.
Maybe it's stopped.
No,
It might stop.
I put my speaker on. Read on, so it says-
Yeah, so there's a beautiful backyard, actually.
Yeah, it's very deep and it's obviously the full width of the building. And there'll be access for all the tenants to come down and out the back as
It
well.
has garages in the back.
Has garages in the back.
There is, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
There
there
are three
is, yeah.
garages, it's like a one building that has 3 parking spaces behind it.
I've been in the building.
Have you?
Yes.
oh, wow.
Told you it's for sale at one time. I think I've been in there.
Yeah.
So currently it's 4 units,
Currently, it's classified as a 2-family because the people before us
right?
changed it, but there's 4 meters in it.
Yeah,
So-
it was
so
a
you-
4 or 5,
You plan on doing a 4 apartment, so that's gonna be what, 2 apartments to a floor? or-
Yes, 2 on the second floor, 2 on the third floor, and then downstairs, we would like to make those commercial
yeah, it'll
spaces.
be all left and right, as you go.
So a total of 6.
Apartment to the
Yeah,
left and
and
apartment. to
those
the
are the
right.
diagrams you have in your. I know we
Yeah, you have them actually, but yeah, this is another set.
Yeah, I haven't said
Yeah.
yet.
What's the, what's on the first floor right now?
Right now, there is apartment and then there's a gentleman who's been selling glass out of it. So when we purchased the property, there was an art studio in there. And we just left it as an art studio, so he sells blown glass from there.
You've had the property for 7 years.
It'll be 7 years next September.
There's already.
Well, isn't it a law that you can do commercial first floor? Something like that, that's
I
what you're
believe
doing.
that according to Craig, we can do that.
Yeah.
Right, you didn't have to get a special approval to do that.
No.
Site plan,
No, that's what he
Yeah.
said, yeah.
they need the site.
Site plan,
Yeah.
right, okay. Yeah, you can do the first floor, and you're not changing anything, you're just,
We're not changing
Exactly.
you
anything.
just come up the stairs and then you have
Yeah.
a commercial one. side.
Everything is the same, yeah.
And they're all, let's see, it's 1 2-bedroom and 1 1-bedroom.
No, they're only 1 bedrooms. They're all 1 bedrooms.
No,
Okay.
2 of them are
Oh,
pretty
that's-
large, 2 bedrooms,
Okay,
they're
yeah.
over 700 square feet.
yeah,
And the other 2 are a little bit smaller
Okay.
because the hallway is taken out of the other 2.
Oh, new bedroom addition, okay. I see.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like a hall room.
Yeah, so we're gonna make that a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
I see 3, I see 3. I'm missing a bedroom, I'm missing an apartment.
It should be right there. It's here, I'll just. So this is the first floor, which is the commercial spaces.
All this commercial.
And then it's have here, 2 apartments.
Oh, these are 2.
Yeah, this is 1 bedroom, and then the bedroom, this one is in the back, and then this is just a mirror of the second floor.
Okay, so you have 4
Are you
apartments.
going to allow the tenants to park in the garages?
Probably, yeah, I mean, the parking is there for them, so we could include it in the apartments.
That'd be nice.
And are you occupying any of the building, are you gonna live in the?
We actually live in Livingston,
at the moment, yeah, but we might keep one for ourselves, we're not sure yet, you know, it's possible with it.
but we will be hands-on. So
Yeah.
it's like we're 10-minute drive away, so like if tenants need anything. Mike's a carpenter. And he responds very quickly. It's important when you have property and you have tenants that you are, available, because things happen, basements flood. And, wash machines break down, washer and dryer will be in the apartments. Yeah, and you need that.
They're gonna be market rate apartments, of course.
They're gonna be market rate apartments, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have an idea of what type of commercial that you want to start about?
Probably the same as, like an art studio,
Especially down that.
yeah. There's a real fall, real need for it, more space. So yeah, probably, and the gentleman that's there, if he wants to stay with us, it's well.
Yeah.
We, just the first floor,
Okay,
the second and third floor right now is vacant.
okay. And the same tenant on the.
Yeah, he has both spaces.
Any more questions for them?
Did Craig indicate any sort of changes in code, because yes, you're going back to the original.
He's not in code, no, not at all, no, he, I
No,
guess
he
it's.
said, he didn't see any problems.
Okay.
What kind of commercial use are you envisioning? Because I'm asking because we're dealing with this sewer thing. And I know you have blown glass, but is there any chance to be a restaurant, a brewery?
I don't think it's big enough, to be honest with you, and I don't think we would, no, we're not looking for that, we would be
No.
looking for exactly what we have, like an art
Yeah.
studio, or,
Yeah, the space wouldn't be big enough to entertain a bar or a.
I don't think it's code allowed.
Yeah, we wouldn't be.
we wouldn't be interested in that, we would not, that would be,
No,
that'd be,
no,
But
not
that's
with
one of the questions
residential,
we asked.
yeah.
not when you have residential apartments and the rest.
There's already a bar right down
We're
the
not
street,
talking
guys.
to people.
Yeah, already a bar right down the street, and they're pretty noisy guys.
There are bars.
That's enough bars. As far as I'm concerned.
There used to be at the end of Warren Street where you turn on board, or actually it was when you came into town,
Mhm.
a Genesee or Utica Club beer sign that said there are 54 bars in Hudson, New York, and Utica Club is served it all. So tradition,
Yeah.
You guys can decide where you want to.
Yeah, I'm kind of favorable to public hearings, so people can know what's happening, I'm very favorable to them. So when there's ever a decision whether we should or should not, we cannot, I'm always gonna have to.
Okay.
I mean, do anybody else on the board agree with me? Okay, I mean, it's only a 2.5 mile town, everybody should know what's going on. Keep it
Yeah,
open.
Listen, I
Because I
just
see
found that very
exactly-
interesting, what we just listened to.
And I wanna know what,
Yeah.
I'll stop people, say, what are you doing?
Yeah,
What are you doing?
so when would be the public, I mean, we're not even ready to make any moves yet, we just trying to get it through the planning board to see, our next step. So what would happen now? There should be a public hearing?
Yeah, no, we're gonna set a resolution to collect escrow from you. And escrow is for the fees for our check for the attorney to assist in reviewing your application. And if we need a consultant on the application because somehow or another you exceed the flow for sewer extension, we'll probably need someone for that. So, but right now, we can go.
I don't think if it's a water, if they're committing, and maybe we make it a condition, not to have a water intensive use, then I think we can avoid that based on Ryan's email.
Okay, right, and that's based on the consultant who's not working on the project, but gave us that advice.
Okay,
Okay, so we want to set a escrow for you. Can we kind of decide what amount we want to?
I mean, you guys can talk, if it's just me and it's just a meeting or two, I mean, I was gonna say a little more than that, just because they have to come back now and have a hearing.
Yeah.
And we try to give like individuals that money back as soon as they.
Let's say 1,500 and then they can be returned.
No, I think we should go higher than 15.
Okay, fine.
But it was 2,000. I mean, it means a board decision. What do you say? Guys,
It doesn't mean that it's getting spent, it just means it's getting.
And in the escrow account, any monies that are not used, will be funded there, yeah.
Yeah.
For the process.
and the money would be used for, give me a scenario.
So basically, for
Technical
me,
help.
so the board doesn't have a budget, so for me to come to the meeting and help the board with the procedures, they pay for my time sitting here and to write the resolution. To approve or not approve.
And to help review your,
Got it.
yeah, everything on here. I mean, we're just citizens just like you, so.
I think I did. What is it?
I mean, you don't have to pay it today. You just have to-
You
you don't have to pay it
I
today.
gotta check, I'm just too good, right?
Oh, yes, you can.
If you want. If I have a check, don't get too excited.
So wait, we got it, we're gonna say 2,000.
Yes.
You,
That's good.
okay, Valerie, what you say? We got two different amounts. John?
I think 15.
Good, we're out done, 1,500.
Okay. And I have a check.
Yes, can I get a motion to adopt the resolution, to collect, $1,500 in escrow?
So we,
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Any opposed?
And once again, this, you're not gonna do anything to the exterior.
Nothing.
No.
Well, we might clean it.
Paint?
We might bring it, we're not sure, we're just debating painting it or bringing it
Yeah,
back
we
down to
haven't
its natural
done
brick.
that.
We're not 100% sure, but the facade will paint.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep
I mean, not the
everything,
facade,
I mean, it's beautiful, the pediment is beautiful. so,
Right, and I think if you did anything to that, you would have to go to
It's shame to.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
We're not, we would never change.
You have the permission.
Yeah, it's too pretty. I mean, the only thing we might do is obviously we'll have to paint it.
Like
You even have to go to the historic preservation.
Like all the beauty of it is like all the lintels, they're all perfectly
Yeah.
level, there's no settlement in this building, any part of it, it's, even the floors inside are all perfectly.
That's a
level.
beautiful building.
So there's no need to, it doesn't need anything outside of it, just to clean it up, maybe bring it back to its natural look.
Boy, Hudson, you're lucky with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, yeah, I was amazed when I went in the first day, I couldn't believe it, like,
Built on clay mostly, so.
Yeah, I know,
They to do funny
So
things.
when guys, is like the next, when do you do the public?
Okay, you make the check to
Oh, go ahead.
the city of Hudson.
It's the second Tuesday in August,
Yeah.
and I'm not giving any days.
Okay, I need to adopt another resolution to classify the action as a type 2 sequel action. And we'll do
There's no lead agency, and type 2 means, because they're reusing an existing structure and none of the uses appear to exceed any threshold that warrant environmental review, it ends that process.
Okay, so,
So
second? Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, we got that one.
I just want to be clear, if they paint it, they don't have to go through, do they have to go through?
They,
the
yeah,
soil?
you have to get permission from the historic preservation if you do anything.
you
about
like this
that.
so much, you can't.
I think you have to talk to Craig, if it's already painted and they're just repainting
Yeah.
versus if you're painting brick that's not painted, there's different levels of review. So you check before you do anything.
Oh, we know that.
Okay, it's TH. TH. Just kidding.
You're in camera.
Joke. It's a joke. It is a joke. And then you're taking.
Okay, so which process now?
Okay,
So if the board can decide whether they want to schedule the hearing for that August date or whether they want to waive the hearing.
do we have to send their project to any, Monday County?
I
or
did
something
not
like that?
see any county or state building or road within 500 feet, but you guys know the area. better than I do.
They're not.
It didn't.
Second one?
I
You've
didn't
got,
see
don't you, second and third, right? How about the Twist Tower, is that?
No,
No.
that's not public.
Talking about a functioning.
County office,
you know, like.
county property.
No,
No, there's nothing.
nothing, okay,
So it does not require county referral.
all right.
Third Street.
All right, so the next meeting is August sometime.
Eighth.
Eighth, and then, do we have to be there?
Yeah, that's not,
Yes.
we could.
You should be.
So we, okay,
Okay.
this public hearing then?
Yep.
Okay, so do I get a motion? Can I get a motion to establish?
Is that the hearing for
Set
August
the hearing, the public hearing for 241 Walnut Street next month, August 8th.
All right, it's all starting to click for me now, sorry. So we if anybody has questions from us that may
Right.
come next door to us, we'll be here to answer those questions.
Yes.
Got it, okay.
I
Do that.
second.
You second?
Or wait, this-
Who first?
You
Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
Who second? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, so your public hearing is next month, and try to get everything to us digital.
Yeah, I'll send it to you guys, yeah. Oh, what's the email do I send it to? But who do I send it to?
Me?
If you send to Craig, or-
Check.
Yeah, if you send it to Craig, he'll send it to us.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
send it to the code enforcement.
Send it to Craig.
Yeah,
Uh,
Got it.
and we'll make sure we all get it.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, guys.
Okay,
Have
thank
a
you.
good evening.
Have a good
Have a
evening.
good evening. All right. We're moving along.
We should probably. That's on your agenda. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, the next, and now we go into other business, and one of the other business was the sewer extension process review. But you know, I told Ryan not to come, so we can't do that.
I mean, I will just note, we got a letter from DEC this week saying, yes, saying what's going on, and they really want to see the list of projects that are going to be subject to review. So we've got to, coordinate.
I started a list at home, I'll send it out. to people.
Linda put together a list.
Yeah, okay.
And actually, we sent it, and they already responded that they want info on the two breweries. Oh, that's on the website.
Meaning they want them to get a sewer extension.
Yeah, Jamie Malcolm responded already. Okay,
Can you see?
we'll have to coordinate all of the letters. I'll make sure.
CC it for them. Okay, so we're gonna pass that, the sewer extension review is what I wanted, Ryan to kind of, give the board a review of what does it mean? Because I sat in the meeting and, the 25 minute blow is equal to 3 apartments, stuff like that. So we'll scratch that. Okay, application submittal time, the language change, I think I sent you all the code that said, we should be getting these. First, I want to say that I don't know about you guys, but I would like to have more time in getting these applications. Time to review, individual time for review, individual time for if you want to go take a look at the site, to make yourself more familiar with what you are making a decision on. So when these people come here, we have questions, because we were there, like, just our past application. That boulevard is very crowded, there are a lot of questions to be asked. So right now, the code does say 15 days, but it's been told to me by the code enforcer that it's 10 days because he uses 5 and then he gives it to us in 10 days. But in those 10 days, you have weekends and holidays.
It doesn't specify.
No, it doesn't specify. And like, it's like this, just the 30th of June, it just passed. We had 2 weekends and a holiday, so we didn't get 10 days. And no one could submit anything to the city official on a Saturday, Sunday, or holiday. Why are we being, forced to, as a volunteer? So we need verbiage. If they're gonna keep it at 15 days, then let it be 15 days. They can keep the weekends and holidays in there. But if we're only gonna give 10 days, I'm asking that they specify 10 business days. Now, are you guys with me on that?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll get a letter out. Who's gonna get the letter?
The thing with the 15 days, that's point A to point B. Code enforcement, Craig Hay, takes 5 of those days for himself. We should maintain the 15 days, and he would have to do 5 days on his own
Right.
without taking it
Okay.
from us.
So maybe 20, I mean, that's not gonna get to.
Well, no,
No,
leave it to 15 for us, because it says right in
Oh,
there.
yeah, another.
It says the planning board secretary shall receive it 15 days before.
Mhm.
Leave it as that. As far as building or code enforcement is concerned, they should have their own time separate from
From our
our 15,
time.
our 15 days.
Okay, no, we
That
can
way
do
we
that.
can leave the weekends and holidays in it
Yeah.
without going through red tape to change it.
So we're gonna ask Craig to change his deadline.
Yes, and if he doesn't get it to us before our meeting, well, so be it, sorry.
Okay, yeah, because we really need the time. I mean, we're all, everybody on this board is volunteer, we volunteer our time. And we need time. I mean, I like to kind of read everything and I keep calling you off. I'll call you back. Okay, so, okay, we'll get a letter out to, Victoria, which way should we go on that?
I mean, you should delegate someone to write a letter explaining the issue, and then you can vote on it at your next meeting.
Okay,
So are we asking Craig to amend his procedures to get it for 20 days? So that he can give us so we can have at least 10.
So,
business
right, there's
days.
two options. One, right now, the code says shall be received by the planning board secretary 15 days in advance.
Right,
You could change the code to change that deadline,
no, we have to ask the.
but then,
Council.
right,
Yeah,
that's a zoning law.
right.
So that's out of our hands and
Right,
that's a
right.
process. The other process would be to ask Craig for him to set a deadline of 5 days before the 15-day transmission deadline to the planning board.
Right. So we stay with the 15 days that's in the code. We ask for no changes in that.
For us.
And
For us.
for us, and ask Craig, listen, you have to abide by the 15 days.
He has to get it to us quicker.
No, but that means he
Yes.
needs to require it earlier, because
Right.
he needs to change the deadline for him. I suppose.
But isn't the code specify?
Just the planning board, this says nothing about code enforcement.
It's silent on when the code enforcement officer receives.
Yeah, it doesn't,
Gotcha.
he said it's somewhere, but he wasn't able to show it to me.
We'll have to find it. We'll
Well,
have to
why
find it.
don't, you wanna make Jean the point person?
No,
No, I'll do it, because I really, I really.
yeah,
need
you
the
and
time.
Greg have good working relationship.
We love each other.
Yeah, I know.
I love that. I love them. Okay, so, we need time. I don't, we really need more time. And the projects that are coming are not, they're not small.
Right.
Yeah, okay? And being volunteers and stuff, we need the time. Okay, so we'll move on to our next project, which is going to be an attorney-client session, ladies. And we're gonna invite you into the coffee room.
Can I ask why you're here?
Yeah.
So we're here just if there was any discussion about the colors of applications.
And you decided to stay.
And so, yeah.
So why don't we end the regular meeting?
Okay, we can end, let me just go to planning board, training review. Remember, guys, gotta get your training. All right, approval of June minutes, everybody got the minutes?
Yeah.
Can I get a motion to
Make a
approve
motion to
the,
approve the.
I second.
all in favor? Okay, bills, can I get a motion to approve the bills,
Sure.
which includes Ryan's bill?
Yeah.
First,
Second.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody approve? And committee reports.
Well, last time I actually had mentioned that I missed a meeting. Actually, I did miss the meeting because they kept postponing it. And so the meeting hadn't happened, so, and that our meeting hasn't happened yet, so I don't have any reports because we haven't had it.
And remember, we have a committee for escrow.
Yeah, that's, I have a recommendation.
But I didn't miss any meetings. This might have nothing to say.
Okay,
What if we tried to meet like half an hour before?
Before a meeting,
Yeah.
sure. What, yeah,
I can't,
You're on it.
because I'm on the radio.
no, but this is a committee for the escrow.
Oh, yeah.
We want to put that
it's a
in the
matter of.
application.
You're in press line.
I don't think so.
Then first.
I provided that
Okay,
information.
one meeting until we're finished,
And she,
okay,
Yeah.
so,
Oh,
okay,
whatever, you know.
can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I think it should.
Did they have any more, did you,
No, we're gonna adjourn the meeting and they can.
we're about to go into executive session.
No, we're gonna adjourn,
We gotta
We're
we're
adjourn.
gonna adjourn.
Do you have any more
Oh, do you have anything you wanna say before we adjourn?
before we leave?
No, just will there be any discussion regarding Calusa tonight?
No.
And any information on when there will be a meeting regarding the topic?
We just got the information, so I could give you any kind of.
Well, the next meeting is August.
Yeah, so there may be some. I don't think we'll have like we did in the past, have, meetings halfway between, in the middle of the month. period.
And all the information that we received pertaining to the Caruso issue is on the website.
Right.
So anything that we can release is already there.
Yeah.
But there's been no action by the committee.
Right.
I mean, everyone just came down and some of us are having difficult time comprehending it.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
And then we have new members, recently appointed, and they have to catch up 5 to 7 years of background information.
Yeah.
So, but anything that we do will be on the website or at the next meeting.
Yeah,
Well, that's why we provided all that we provided for that catch up, because we
Right.
sympathize
Yeah.
with people that don't know a lot about it.
Okay.
Hopefully it's helpful.
yeah,
All right.
we thank you for your participation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Donna.
Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn our meeting?
Do we have to ask our Zoom audience if they have any questions?
Is there anyone on?
Is everybody on?
Yeah, there's some people on.
Nobody's hand raised.
Yeah, I haven't seen that, so do we have to ask?
Well, go ahead and ask. Anything else before we do?
Anything, any questions from the public before we adjourn this meeting? See some writing, but I can't see. what it says.
That's just a transcript of
Yeah,
what you're
I
saying.
don't see any hands raised.
I don't see the answer.
Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn the planning board meeting for July 11th, 2023?
So,
Okay, all in favor, who's first? You? Second. All in
one or
favor?
the other for him.
Yeah.
Any opposed? All right, that's it. We adjourn. Turn everything off. Good night, everyone. Thank you for
Participate.
7:26. We are finished.